I'm especially glad to be here because I think it's important that you re-elect this Congressman, McMahon. Now, folks, look, you know, the great thing about being an ex-president is you can say whatever you want.
Yeah!
So here I am with my notes for the speech. Now, the sad thing is nobody has to care what you say anymore. But Staten Island was good to me. And I want to talk about this election seriously. You know, everybody says it's supposed to be a terrible year for the Democrats because we have the White House, the majority of the Congress, and the economy's in the dumps, and people are upset about all this spending. I hope that I have earned the right to be heard on the economy and the budget. So, I want to say something. I know exactly what Mike's opponent, whichever one he winds up with, is going to wind up saying. They're going to say you just got to throw all the Democrats out because the economy, we left them a mess and they didn't fix it in 21 months. And besides that, they're spending too much money, so it's too slow and too expensive, throw them out. That's what they're going to say. So I want to talk about that a little bit. First of all, I care a lot about the deficit. We all should. But let's look at the record here. In the 12 years before I became president, 2 Republican presidents quadrupled the national debt. I gave you 4 surplus budgets and paid $600 billion down on the national debt.
Yeah!
Then they got back in with no recession and they doubled the national debt again by fighting 2 wars, increasing domestic spending, and borrowing all the money from China to do it, and giving me, people in my income group, 5 tax cuts. It's the nuttiest thing I've ever heard of in my life. We never did it before, and it was really great for the economy. When I was president, we had 22.7 million new jobs. They had 2.5 million before the meltdown took 7 million away. Let's not forget about this. Most average Americans, including most of the people who live in this congressional district, were not doing too great before the financial meltdown took the bottom out of the economy, and it's awful. So I get that. But the problems that he faced and the problems that the president faced were very different from mine. When I became president in '93, all this deficit spending had driven up interest rates and bankruptcies were high, people couldn't get a loan, costs were through the roof, and people were in real trouble. So we had to bring down the debt while we were increasing investment in education and in new technologies and generating more jobs, which we did. Now, there was a very different thing. When President Obama took office and when Mike became a member of the Congress, the country was actually at risk of shrinking the economy. We didn't have any inflation problem. Interest rates were virtually zero. We were shrinking. Now, what's the point of this? I know that he's going to be criticized for voting for the so-called stimulus bill because the Republicans say, oh, it didn't fix the economy. Now keep in mind, they left a mess. There was no regulation of the financial institutions, unreasonable risk, it threatened to break us all. And I have to tell you that, you know, because of the safeguards that were put in, we're actually going to get back the money that was loaned to the banks with profit. And it wasn't to help Wall Street, it was to help Main Street. We were the largest car dealer in America that quit financing cars before this happened. It was going to get to the point